The drama surrounding the Cleveland Browns has officially crossed the point of no return, because what was once dismissed as fan paranoia or social media exaggeration has now been admitted out loud, on air, by Browns insiders themselves. This wasn't whispered in anonymous leaks or hidden behind vague reporting. This was spoken clearly, publicly, and without ambiguity on ESPN Cleveland. The revelation was explosive, not because it suggested dysfunction, but because it confirmed something far worse. There was a deliberate agenda against Shadur Sanders from the very beginning, and now the people who helped push that agenda are confessing they played a role in it. This moment changes everything. It reframes the entire season, the quarterback carousel, the baffling depth chart decisions, and the months of dismissive narratives about Shedur's readiness. What fans were told was development strategy was actually obstruction. What was framed as patience was really suppression. And what was sold as honest evaluation was, in reality, a coordinated effort to bury a quarterback before he ever had a fair chance to compete. The most shocking part isn't that agendas existed. Anyone who has followed professional sports closely understands that politics and preferences can creep into decision-making. The shock is that Browns insiders admitted they knew it, repeated it, and only now are acknowledging how badly they were misled. They openly described how information was fed to them by the organization, how narratives were shaped behind the scenes, and how they accepted it without pushing back. That information painted Shadur as underdeveloped, unprepared, and incapable, even though the data inside the building said the exact opposite. And that's where this story turns from incompetence into something far more disturbing. The Browns' own internal quarterback tracking data showed Shadur Sanders outperforming every quarterback on the roster from the moment training camp began. Completion percentage, efficiency, decision-making, accuracy, all of it pointed in one direction. He was the best quarterback in the building. Not subjectively, not emotionally, objectively. The numbers were there, documented, tracked, and undeniable. Yet despite that, Shadur was buried as fourth string. He was told he would be redshirted. He was effectively erased from the competition before it ever truly started. That is not a scouting miss. That is not a coaching oversight. That is a conscious decision to ignore evidence in favor of preference. When your own metrics identify a player as the top performer and you still sideline him, you are no longer evaluating talent. You are enforcing an agenda. What makes this even more damning is how openly insiders are now admitting that they were wrong, not just in hindsight, but in process. They described being told Shedeur couldn't develop, couldn't handle NFL concepts, couldn't even perform basic quarterback tasks. They repeated those claims publicly. They defended the organization while dismissing dissenting voices. And now, after Shedeur finally stepped onto the field and shattered those narratives in real games, they're being forced to confront the truth. They weren't reporting. They were being used. This agenda didn't just damage Shedeur's reputation. It distorted reality for fans, analysts, and even teammates. It created a false baseline where his success would always be framed as surprising instead of inevitable. It lowered expectations artificially, so that when he finally played well, it felt like an anomaly rather than confirmation. That's how manipulation works. You poison the well early so the truth feels unbelievable later. The silence from Kevin Stefanski during this period only reinforces the suspicion. For 2 full months, the head coach refused to even say Shedeur's name publicly. That isn't normal. That isn't accidental. Coaches speak about backups, practice squad players, and developmental prospects all the time. Ignoring a quarterback entirely, especially one performing at a high level in practice, is intentional erasure. It sends a message, both internally and externally, that this player does not matter. And yet, this erasure directly contradicted what ownership was saying publicly. Jimmy Haslam stated clearly that getting rookie quarterbacks game experience was a priority, especially with future draft positioning in mind. That directive aligned with logic and long-term planning. But somehow, the rookie quarterback who was performing best was the one denied reps, denied opportunity, and denied development. Meanwhile, others were elevated despite weaker performance. That contradiction only makes sense if the agenda was not organizational, but personal. Everything points back to Kevin Stefanski. Insiders have now said openly that he did not want any part of Shedeur from day one. Not because of performance, not because of readiness, but because of bias, pride, or fear of being proven wrong. And once that stance was taken, everything else followed. The depth chart placement, The red shirt talk. The media leaks. The narratives about effort and development. It was all designed to justify a conclusion that had already been reached. What makes this especially cruel is the psychological toll it places on a young player. Imagine outperforming everyone in camp, only to be told it doesn't matter. Imagine being shut out of opportunities, then criticized for not developing fast enough. Imagine hearing stories circulate about your work ethic when the organization has already decided you're not part of the plan. That isn't development. That's sabotage. And yet, this story doesn't end in tragedy. It ends in exposure. Because when injuries and circumstances finally forced the Browns to put Shedeur on the field, the truth came rushing out. He didn't look overwhelmed. He didn't look behind. He didn't look like a project. He looked like a franchise quarterback. He threw for 364 yards and 4 touchdowns. He led comeback drives. He commanded the offense. He broke rookie records. He made the lies impossible to maintain. Now the same insiders who once repeated those narratives are walking them back in public. They are admitting agendas existed. They are acknowledging they were fed misinformation. They are confessing they failed to challenge the organization. That kind of admission is rare in sports media, and it speaks to how undeniable Shedeur's performance has been. You can spin potential. You cannot spin results. The most powerful part of this story is how it reflects a broader truth about professional sports. Talent does not always rise immediately. Sometimes it is delayed by politics, ego, and fear. But talent, when real, eventually forces the truth into the open. Shadur Sanders didn't argue. He didn't campaign. He didn't attack the media. He worked. He waited. And when his moment came, he left no doubt. Now, with elite matchups ahead and the spotlight firmly on him, the pressure has shifted entirely. It's no longer on Shedeur to prove he belongs. He already did that. The pressure is on the Browns organization to explain how they missed what was right in front of them, and why they chose agenda over evidence. Every snap from here on out only sharpens that question. So now I want to hear from you. Do you believe this agenda was intentional from the start, or was it ego spiraling out of control? Should Kevin Stefanski still be trusted to lead this team after insiders admitted he never wanted Shedeur in the first place? And what does this say about how young quarterbacks are evaluated across the league? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you want continued fearless breakdowns that hold organizations accountable instead of protecting narratives, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. This story is far from finished, and the next chapters are going to be even louder.